No better way to wrap up a week of morning offering than with a chat with Pat. And Pat, what is the topic of our conversation today?
Well, today we're going to look at the city of God and the city of man. And the reason that came to mind, I was trying to think last night, what can I possibly talk about? I mean, there's so many things out there, and there just seems to be so much division in our not just in our countries. We come up on these 250 years, but I kept thinking, well, what's kind of at the heart of all of this, right? How can we keep talking unity, but how do we bring unity about, right? And so I started playing with this idea in my head of St. Augustine's book that he wrote, The City of God, right? And I came across an article by Steve Wendikoff from the Catholic Answers articles, and he described Augustine's take on this in this way. He says the book illustrates Augustine's historical perspective, wherein history is viewed as a great drama between two cities, the city of man and the city of God. The city of man, founded on self-love, is where pride, ambition, greed, and expediency reign supreme. In contrast, the city of God is founded on selflessness and love of God. And in it, humility, sacrifice, and obedience are paramount. Now, just take a minute and think about that, right? The idea, of course, we're going to have division, right? I mean, yes, we want unity, but these are two very different worldviews. But Augustine goes on to say that obviously membership in the city of God is not exclusive, right? It's not exclusionary. Augustine writes, so long then as the heavenly city is wayfaring on earth, which means we are on the way to somewhere else, she invites citizens from all nations and all tongues and unites them into a single pilgrim band. Whitenkopf goes on to say, the cities are distinct yet commingled in time. Each individual struggles with membership in both cities. At times, the citizen finds himself immersed in the city of man, and at other times, he's safely ensconced in the city of God. But more often than not, he bestrides the two. Well, I got to thinking about that. I thought, well, really? Do we have to kind of bestride the two? And then I thought, well, how do we live in two cities at the same time? How do Christians do that? But I think Augustine is really putting a connection to the words of Christ. When Christ says we are to live in the world, yet not be part of the world. So how do we do that? And I think the way we do that, one of the ways, is by reflecting on this concept of two cities and asking ourselves, where are we spending most of our time? So are we living in the city of man or the city of God? We can physically live in the world, but not be a part of the city of man, but be a part of the city of God. And I think that's what Christ is calling us to. But how do we do that, right? Well, all you got to do is go back to those definitions given by Augustine. The city of man is founded on self-love. It's where pride, ambition, greed, and expediency reign supreme. So this is how we're living. If this is how we're living, then we're firmly planted in the city of man. Yet I think most of us, the people of faith, we're trying to live firmly planted in the city of God. And yet we kind of maybe slip into the city of man, or maybe take a little vacation in the city of man, because we don't think about how we're living, what motivates us, what moves us. And so pride, ambition, greed, selfishness, expediency start to move us in our choices. And when that happens, we're starting to actually move into the city of God. People of faith then are called to live in the city of God, or the city of man. People of faith are called to live in the city of God. So again, Augustine reminds us, selflessness and love of God. humility, sacrifice, obedience. So when we live a life motivated by these things, then we're living in the city of God. But because of sin, we leave the city of God at times and visit the city of man. But because of the sacrament of reconciliation, we can always move right back into the city of God. so I think the question here for us is how do we live in the city of God, even though we might be surrounded by worldviews that are not of God? And for me, I think it's really important that we spend lives of reflection. We've got to reflect. And so we've got to reflect on what we're doing, why we're doing it. Don't just get in the zone of the world and go with it, right? And so, this is one of the things I do. I'm not always successful, obviously. But when I want to do something or buy something or take a new job or a new thing to do, I ask myself, okay, so if I buy that or I want to do this with my life, my next question is, and then what? Well, how will I use this thing I bought, or why do I want this position in life? I'll answer that question, and then I'll say, and then what? Sooner or later, I get to the point where I'm saying, and then death will find me, right? All of the stuff I've accumulated, all the jobs I've held, all the money I may have earned throughout my life will mean nothing if I'm living in the city of man. It won't mean anything. It will just be gone when I die. But if I'm living in the city of God, anything I own, money I've earned, jobs I've held, are always for the Lord and his people. And I was thinking about this last night, and then this morning in morning prayer, reading the Liturgy of the Hours, and then the readings of the day, I thought, this is it, right? These two scripture readings are telling us how to live in the city of God. How do we do this? In the Liturgy of the Hours from Galatians, Paul says, I have been crucified with Christ, and the life I live now is not my own. Christ is living in me. I can't be selfish. Christ is living in me. I still live in my human life. I still live in the world, right? But it is a life of faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. And then like you talked about, Dave, right? The question is, how do we glorify God in everything we do? Well, we hear that in Peter today. Let your love for one another be intense. Be hospitable to one another without complaining. Just try that for a day.
Yeah, right.
Right? As each one of us has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's very grace. Whoever preaches it, let it be with the words of God. Whoever serves, let it be with the strength of God that he supplies so that all things may glorify God, right? So when I get to my last and then what, I'll be able to say, I have loved you, God, and loved all those whom you've put in my life. And love is the only thing we can take with us. Plant yourself firmly in the city of God, and then the eternal city of God will be yours.
I love it. I love it. And, our tendency, I think, just humanity, we want to firmly plant one foot here, one foot there. So
exactly.
we want to be half and half. We don't want to commit one way or the other. Is that a lack of trust?
Yes, I think so. I think it's just a lack of, I can't give this up because I really don't trust there is something greater at work here. That's why we make our lives all about ourselves, right?
The appropriateness of the city of God, Pat. I mean, St. Augustine lived in a time very similar to ours. The collapse of the Western Roman Empire. He's lying dying as Hippo is being sacked. I mean, so he saw all of this. So,
Exactly.
Good stuff.
What a wonderful chat with Pat this morning. Wow.